off, yet space and time are no more stable than a tectonic plate. They can't slide, heave, and buckle. When a massive body shifts, it sends tremors through the space-time continuum, resculpting it. The position of the cafeteria may change as a result, even if the tectonic plate stays put. This process, rather than Newton's mysterious action at a distance, is how gravity is communicated from one place to another. So in other words, whatever this is, Arwin, who gives a shit? It contradicts Newtonian, and this is claiming to be the current science. So it's not whether or not this is true, it's just that it's another story that science tells us is now the current science, and it just pisses all over Pete's idea.
Yeah, basically Einstein's fantasy pisses all over Newtonian fantasy. Doesn't mean that Einstein's fantasy is correct, but if you Muppets accept the current science rhetoric, then you accept Einstein. We don't. It's total bollocks.
Yeah, so let's just be clear. We're not saying this is true, but what we are saying is...
I wonder how much people in general will accept this.
They won't.
Or even know about it.
You might as well have a flux capacitor. Oh, this is like sci-fi.
Well, this is a very elaborate set of assumptions and
PMAS. After everything I heard now about gravity, this is completely different. PMAS, you must surely agree that you're wrong.
I would have a read of it, just for the shits and giggles aspect of it.
No, I got it.
I'm pretty sure I'm right.
I was just about to say, if you're not wrong, then why?
Right about what, P? What do you think
because
you're right
Nathan
about?
and Anthony haven't even made an argument against.
Sorry, no, we've just you're right, P. What we've done, what we've done is ripped your argument to pieces in front of hundreds of people. So, what exactly do you think you're right about?
That's what I would like to know.
But you're wrong that when you
what
say
I'm
Einstein,
wrong about. What are you right about? You said I think I'm right. So, what are you right about?
The gravity is real?
Oh, your religious belief in gravity is right, is it?
Yeah, my belief in gravity is correct.
Right, so your religious assertion, piss off. You're just a Joho, bloody Jehovah's Witness knocking on our door, telling us about your faith in your bullshit ball and its bullshit gravity, based on what you think and believe. Who the hell do you think you are? Do you think you're unprogramming yourself with this religious belief in gravity, dickhead? What kind of pathetic twat are you, P. Mars?
Just hang on a sec, Nath. Let me just ask you this, P. Normally, when you join and you're in normal P. Mars mode, you talk normally like you're normal. But today you've got this trepid little mouse appearance that makes us think that you're doing this by force because you don't want to do it because you know you're going to get ripped a new one. Are you being paid to be here today, P. Mars?
I'm being paid, yeah.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they're live, and there's also a PayPal link in the info box below the video. Most importantly though, if you would like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcomed back on the next stream. Please also share the show. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by Travis, Spurs Chemo, Sleeping Warrior, P. Mars, Jose, Earth Flattener, Warren, Arwin, and Flat Earth Vegan Goy. Good to have you all.
Yo, yo.
Hello.
So let's just continue
Good afternoon.
straight right back.
Good afternoon, all.
Well,
Hello.
So, what I've understood is that you have a belief. Do you think a belief should be taught or preached?
Neither.
Well, if the belief is justified with empirical evidence, I don't see what's wrong with teaching it. But the education systems are indoctrinating people. I would never send my children to school, public school,
where they teach the globe and teach gravity.
Because what I'm getting at, P-Mars, is that we've recognized that you have a belief. And where's the best place to have a belief? There are places for beliefs, right? Do you agree, disagree? What do you think?
I think you're thinking of the word faith instead of belief. Can have evidence, empirical evidence to support a belief, but you're thinking of faith, I think.
Okay, what's your empirical evidence for gravity?
Cavendish experiment.
We went over this. It's not an experiment. It doesn't have a valid hypothesis. Your independent variable gravity is not being varied and manipulated by you and the researcher. We went through this on the last show, and in the break you conceded it was just your belief. Are you going to double down and double back on that and say, no, actually it is an experiment, so we can waste half an hour explaining that it's not science? It doesn't adhere to the scientific method. It doesn't have a valid independent variable. It doesn't have a valid phenomena. It's man-made. It comes before the hypothesis, the experiment. It's riddled, P. It's absolutely riddled. It's just a parlour trick used to assert a fantasy that has been superseded in science by Einstein.
I believe it is a...
Don't tell us what you believe. I asked you for your empirical evidence. Don't give us your belief shit immediately after being asked for evidence.
Yeah, I think it is empirical evidence.
I don't think your belief is empirical, P. Let's get that clear. That's your belief. That's your religion. That's what a priest would assert to his congregation. A scientist would present an experiment using a valid hypothesis, one with an independent variable that you can vary and manipulate as the researcher, and systematically perform experimentation to validate or invalidate your presumed cause as the cause of the effect. You've got none of that. Just faith.
Yeah, a belief can be supported by empirical
Don't care. It's not.
It's called a...
It's not, though, is it, P? You've just got the belief bit. Telling me that a belief can be supported doesn't mean your belief in gravity is. It isn't.
I haven't heard any good argument to say that this experiment is invalid.
Oh, really?
So,
well, let me give you the words of Newton himself. Let me give you Newton's words. Newton said, "I offer no hypothesis for gravitation." Those are Newton's own words.
And where was that stated, Nathan?
In the Principia.
Correct. And what was the Principia? Where he established his laws of motion. So P, if Newton himself offered no hypothesis on gravitation, yet you lot all worship him thinking that gravity is Newtonian, and he offered no hypothesis for it, what does that tell you?
Isaac Newton was a virgin?
No, it tells you that Isaac Newton recognised instantly that it was, and I'll use my own words rather than Newton's, bollocks.
It was a side project with his heliocentric buddies, basically trying to figure it out, and they used him, and he never agreed to it, really. But yeah, after his death, they just totally abused him as an icon to promote their globe religion anyway.
Yep.
It's a damn shame.
So who are you going to believe? Cavendish with his balls and his pseudoscience non-scientific parlour trick, or the very origin of gravitation, Newton himself, who says very clearly, I offer no hypothesis for gravitation. In other words, you can't formulate it, or he couldn't, and wouldn't even bother trying to formulate it into a scientific experiment, because it isn't, P.
Yeah, well, I'll go with the people that get paid to do science. And not,
what, like Newton was?
Yeah.
Sure.
So you'll go with Newton. So you will go with Newton. You will go with Newton's words about him offering no hypothesis for gravitation, not trying to develop a systematic experiment to prove gravitation. No, that's not what Newton did. Not to mention the fact that this has been superseded by Einsteinian gravity, as also demonstrated to you within the last hour, P.
I already knew you guys haven't told me anything I don't know.
So why do you still believe?
You've not seen any reason then.
Why do you believe then, P? Why do you keep showing us Cavendish?
Newton would never have agreed to Cavendish.
No flat earther has ever shown why Cavendish isn't a valid experiment.
Sorry, that's an argument from ignorance, another logical fallacy. Can you
And actually,
disprove?
well,
Can you disprove? You can't disprove unicorns. Has anybody disproven unicorns? You tard. Argument from ignorance fallacy. Look it up. Listen. Look it up. Argument from. Listen. Not talk. Listen. Not talk. Argument from ignorance fallacy. Look it up. You love to use that particular fallacy, P, because you are fallacious. You don't follow logical reasoning, you follow logical fallacy. In this instance, an argument from ignorance. Look it up.
Yeah, your unicorn argument is a false equivalency, a logical fallacy.
No, it's another argument from ignorance, equivalent to you saying, you can't disprove it. Oh, really? That's an argument from ignorance, idiot. Maybe you should look it up rather than arguing with me.
Look,
There's been lots of occasions that P. Mars
just
has had his
don't see,
thumb spanked,
dude.
hasn't there?
Like, I do my best for gravity, but this whole Cavendish thing, especially your so-called experiment right there, you can clearly see the balls are moving at a very fast rate. You can see it on the clock. Officially, according to how it's supposed to work, it should not be going that fast. That's clearly a sign that something else is happening, and this correlates much more to magnetics.
To be fair, P, Arwin argues gravity better than all of you ballers. And that's not a compliment, Arwin.
Thanks for the compliment anyway.
Compliment retracted.
Can't take it back.
P-Mars, what are you thinking? Are you thinking, we're crazy, we don't get it, we're missing something, we should just accept it? Should we just accept this, or should we understand it? What do you think?
Well, I think if you're going to not believe in this experiment here, then you should have a good reason rather than just like whatever the hell Nathan is saying that doesn't make sense.
You haven't shown them it's an experiment.
How can we understand what you understand? How is this making sense to you?
Well, I think you guys are all delusional, unless some
Really?
of you are just purposely trying to deceive people. So I guess there's no really getting through to people that are delusional. You can't really argue with you.
What's the delusion, P?
For example, we just said, okay, we accept this, but we didn't understand it. Would that satisfy you, or would you feel like you've had to have a victory? How do you see it? Should we just accept it or understand it?
I mean, it doesn't matter to me. Like, whatever you guys think isn't going to change reality, so.
Of course, if we understood it,
Yeah, maybe not.
let's say, for example, we see, or I see what you see, and, I could understand where you're coming from. But where you're coming from right now is a place where everybody has been indoctrinated. The same place, and you seem to be, coming unstuck here. What else? How can we understand this Cavendish? Like I say, accept it or understand it.
Well, or I'd like some response to my approach on it. What do you think about that? Don't you agree that's going way too fast?
I don't think so, Arwen.
Really? So have you heard any other people explain what they experienced during their tests? That actually takes a really, really long time. And if you're going to sit there and watch, you're not going to see it slowly move. Because it goes too slow. That's what I remember from people's testimonies.
Yeah.
And even from my teacher in class.
You have some interesting
Size.
opinions.
Right. So if I got all these different approaches and testimonies from people, unfortunately, not on camera, from my past. Yeah, sorry, but this just looks like a fraud. It doesn't correlate with the
Because Arwen, I'm trying to think what's
how it's supposed to work.
What triggered the Cavendish? Was it because PMARS they saw moons orbiting another planet, so they thought, aha, this must be a what was the triggering process for the Cavendish? How did he come up with this idea in the first place?
It's just a giant astronomy presupposition thing. What he did, and I don't even want to get into that because it's just things I'm not really
But that's
interested
the thing,
in.
you see, if PMARS can understand where it came from originally, like the idea,
Astronomy.
then he can backtrack, right? And then he can say, well, where did he get this idea in the first place from? So if it's because Cavendish saw other moons rotating other planets, and then he said, aha, that's what it is. So I think could be where the problem lies.
It's just theoretically tying in the astronomical system with the Earth's effects, like what's supposedly causing the Earth to be a ball, as it were. It's just.
Now hold on. Well, PMARS, do you know where it came from?
Like
if you don't know, just say I don't know. I don't want to dwell on it. Do you have any idea the history? The idea what sparked it?
No, I don't.
Okay, that's it. Yeah.
That's a good point, though. We can observe moons orbiting planets.
So? What's good about that point, P?
So planets aren't just lights in the sky; they have mass.
All right. How do you know they got mass?
Because we can see how they interact with each other, and they can calculate stuff based on the math of gravity and how everything works.
So if you take your Cavendish experiment and extrapolate out G from it, then you can weigh the mass of the Earth and therefore the mass of all those planets, therefore automatically assuming that they have mass. Also, you would also extract out from that because the lights in the sky are spherical with things twirling around them, that means we, the Earth, is also like those lights in the sky, circular, round, with things travelling around us. Correct, P?
Yep.
So, if I'm in a forest, and I walk through the forest, and I look around, and everything around me is trees. As far as the eye can see, there's trees left, trees up, trees behind me, everywhere's trees. Am I a tree?
Yep, you're a tree.
Perfect.
Boom.
That's your logic. I look up, I see lights with things going around them, therefore I'm a light with things going around me. Like I'm a tree because I'm a walk in the forest. Right, P?
Right. What's
Wrong.
your logic?
Just idiocy based on indoctrination and programming, the thing you keep telling us you're trying to break.
Well, you're programming people to think the Earth is flat. For some
No,
reason.
I'm taking apart your argument. I haven't made a single assertion. I've asked a question. Am I a tree if I walk through the forest? No, I'm not. Am I a light in the sky because I see lights in the sky? According to you, a Dumbo, yes. That's not me indoctrinating anybody. That's not me lying. That's not me getting anything wrong. That's me ripping you a new asshole.
And besides, optics are not that really upfront. So even though you are seeing something that maybe like you could imagine to be a sphere or a disc or a dot, you don't even know what you're looking at. Because even on the Earth, when you can actually confirm that it is physical, real weird optics happen over long distances. So how can you extrapolate from that that anything you see up there would be just a plain forward ball from super, super fast distances. This is just idiocy.
Nathan, have you ever stabbed someone and had sex with the wound?
Fuck.
Sorry, say that again. I didn't catch that.
No, you didn't want to catch that. That was really sick, P.
Have you ever stabbed someone and had intercourse with the wound?
That's disgusting.
Yeah, that's time, no.
Why'd you ask such a disgusting question, P?
I think it's time for you to go.
That's bootable, isn't it?
Yeah,
I
bye,
think
P.
so. Bye, P.
That was disgusting, dude. That was really, really disgusting.
Unorthodox. I think it's better the devil you know. How are you? No sound. No sound.
Why are you guys
Unorthodox.
kicking P?
Is that unorthodox? Was that you?
Yeah, it is him.
Didn't hear him say anything.
Why are you guys kicking P? That's not cool.
Because he
Did you hear what he said?
Because he was vulgar. Let's not repeat it. It's just too vulgar.
I did. I'm not really sure where he was going with that one.
Just,
So why did you ask the
Going
question?
no place good, I can tell
Hang
you.
on, why
I'll
did
tell
you
you
ask
where
the
he's going. It's called a logical fallacy. A red herring. Rather than addressing the actual argument in hand, he distracted with a different subject.
He was, for my
I
opinion,
would
it
say
was very, very
why don't you
weak
explain
performance.
why
by
it's a
P.
logical
Very weak.
fallacy?
Sorry, I didn't hear any of that. One at a time.
So why don't you explain like how and why it's a logical fallacy instead of just, throwing out that word?
We do that right
Yes.
away.
I didn't
No
hear.
problem. No
Yeah,
problem.
you don't hear a lot of things apparently.
So
'cause
red
we do
herring
that.
fallacy would be where a issue is on the table, and rather than addressing the issue directly, you bring up something else unrelated. That would be the red herring. So when P said his disgusting comment, that was a red herring, a distraction from the actual topic in hand.
That's not really what I was talking about.
Well, you specifically said unorthodox. Why do you just say it's a logical fallacy without explaining it?
I was talking about earlier in the discussion.
Just mumbling now.
Logical fallacy, logical fallacy.
Mumbling like you've walked away from your phone.
Do what?
You're really low on volume. Get closer to your mic, please.
Maybe you can explain in the Cavendish so-called experiment how gravity is varied for this to actually be an experiment.
go.
That's what we were trying to get out of Pete.
I mean, it's really not that complicated, guys. Just like the magnetic field is attached to electrons, and moving electrons create a magnetic field. Same thing with gravity. If you manipulate mass, it manipulates the gravitational field.
What's mass?
So how was
What's
gravity?
mass? Mass is anything that takes up space, has atoms, and resists movement.
So how do you quantify that as a
So
as a
how is
measurement?
how is gravity varied in the Cavendish experiment? And what is the hypothesis of that experiment?
Out to Warren for the super chat. Thank you very much. Squeal like a pea. A squeal like a pea redneck. Okay. Thanks for the super chat.
Yeah. Good ad hominem. Can't
that was an
can't
ad
talk
hominem,
about the argument.
correct.
Just throw out an ad hominem.
That's correct. That
tactic.
was an ad hominem. Well identified. So anyway, the Cavendish experiment is supposedly establishing gravity as the cause. Correct?
Yeah, and I did two other scientific hypothesis experiments on your show, so there's 3 total now.
Yeah, we ripped those apart.
You want me
every
to
single
explain?
No.
If you want me
No.
to explain this,
No.
this will be the
Stop.
3rd time I've proven
No.
gravity on your show.
This is another red herring.
Yes.
So let's shut him up. Yet another red herring fallacy. So rather than telling us how you vary and manipulate gravity, he's telling us about the 2 other experiments and how he's done those. That's a fallacy. Red herring again. Yeah, you're not actually addressing the point at all. You're not even giving us a straw man argument.
Let me maybe if I talk slow, you'll get this. This will be.
Will your talking slow actually give us how you vary and manipulate gravity in the Cavendish experiment?
You want me to give? Okay, so hold on. We'll walk through this. All right. So if I get all the little nuts and bolts in the right place, am I going to get a concession?
Yeah.
Yeah. If
I'm going to get a concession if I get all the nuts and bolts in the right place.
You're just repeating yourself. I'm trying to answer you. So, if you can tell us how you as a researcher can vary and manipulate, let's get this clear, gravity. Not mass, which is affect. Oh, you shut up! I will concede if you answer the question, which is how do you vary and manipulate gravity? Not mass, which is affected by gravity, according to your assertion, which you're trying to prove with the very experiment you make the assertion about, but how you actually vary and manipulate your claimed independent variable, gravity. That's what we will concede if you manage to show us how you can vary and manipulate gravity. Firstly, I'd like you to show me gravity.
Show you gravity?
Yes, once you can show me gravity, and I can see what you will be varying and manipulating, I'll say, right, there's gravity, now let's see you vary and manipulate it.
Don't answer with a question.
Why not?
Well, you're supposed to be
Nathan
getting us to concede based on your wonderful answer for how you can vary and manipulate gravity, the independent variable in the Cavendish experiment.
No, the independent variable in the Cavendish experiment is mass.
Oh, so the cause...
Mass.
So the cause is mass.
Yes.
So mass is the cause. Not gravity, then. Not gravity, but mass.
Let me explain this slowly, okay, Nathan?
No. I want to know what the cause is. You're saying the independent variable, presumed cause, is mass. I already detailed that I didn't want you to tell me how you vary and manipulate mass.
So do you
and then assert...
believe in the magnetic
Shut
field
up!
And
I've told you my conditions. I don't want you to tell me how you vary and manipulate mass, given that it is affected by gravity according to an assertion by you when you're trying to prove it with the experiment. So I don't need an assertion about what mass is affected by. I need to know how you will vary and manipulate gravity.
The same way you vary and manipulate a magnetic field by changing something...
We're not manipulating magnetic fields here. Yeah? We're trying to establish the cause. That would be gravity according to you Muppets. So I don't want a false equivalency of how you do it for another experiment. That's a straw man. I'm not interested in your straw man. I want you to tell me how you will vary and manipulate gravity.
The same way you vary and manipulate a magnetic field.
That's a straw man. We're talking about the Cavendish experiment. Second time I've said it. We're not interested in any other experiment other than this one. I don't want you to make an equivalency to a different experiment.
Kind of odd how it lines up so perfectly, right? You vary and manipulate an electric field.
No, this is not the experiment we're talking about, dickhead.
The magnetic field, and you
Shut
vary
up.
and manipulate mass.
All right, if you carry on talking about how you vary and manipulate a magnetic field, I'll kick you out. I want to know how you'll vary and manipulate gravity. This is a straw man.
No, it's not. It's a direct...
Sorry, we're asking how you vary and manipulate gravity. You're telling the audience how you vary and manipulate a magnetic field.
Yes, it's a parallel.
No! Don't tell me how you vary and manipulate a magnetic field, you unbelievable imbecile. Tell me how you vary and manipulate the thing we're talking about. We're not talking about magnetic fields, you complete idiot. We're talking about gravity. So get a grip, stop babbling on about electric fields, and tell us how you vary and manipulate gravity.
The electromagnetic energy and the magnetic field will change. The other one, you vary the mass and the gravity changes. They're parallel.
So you vary the mass and the gravity changes by assertion from you. Well, you're varying a mass, not the gravity. Just asserting that gravity is mass is nonsense.
No, we're proving it for the third time now.
You've proved things in science by varying and manipulating your independent variable, the presumed cause. If your presumed cause is gravity, then you better damn well manipulate it, not tell me that mass has got an assertion attached to it. Idiot.
So you don't see the parallel here, Nathan?
I'm not looking for parallels. You unbelievable idiot. I'm not looking for a parallel. I'm looking for the cause. Something you establish with science, not parallels.
You have to understand more.
I don't have to understand anything. You can establish a cause with systematic experimentation. You don't need to understand anything. You can establish it with your experiment, which you don't, because you can't vary and manipulate your presumed cause, which is gravity, not mass.
So you don't believe in a magnetic field?
I don't need to believe anything. We're supposed to be doing science. This is not a religious education show. Don't tell me what I need to believe, you idiot.
How do you vary a magnetic field?
Who cares? This straw man argument has no relevance.
Do you believe in a
Cavendish.
magnetic field? Is a magnetic field fake?
Who cares? This is not
Do you
the
believe
subject.
in a magnetic field? Is
I'm
a
gonna kick you
magnetic
out.
field fake?
I'm just going to kick you out. You're just a straw man user. We're not talking about magnetic fields, are we?
Same exact thing.
No, it isn't. Get out. Get out. Don't tell me that magnetic fields are the same exact thing as gravity. That gets you kicked out. You unbelievable asshole. No, we're not talking about the same thing. We're talking about gravity. You want to tell the audience how you manipulate magnetic fields. Bollocks. Get out.
He's claiming that it's a given that that this other variable manipulates gravity. It's ridiculous.
Hi, Will. How you doing?
It's very simple. Gravity is not magnetism.
Hey, Will.
Hello.
Good to have you.
Nothing. I wanted to join for a while, but it was always full, so I was happy when the last guy got kicked.
Me too.
Yeah.
And this, ladies and gentlemen, people in the chat and listening in the near future, is the representation of the globe Earth you have. P-Mars unorthodox. Thank you.
Well, I was thinking of taking his spot in that sort of discussion, so we'll see if this goes better or if it turns hostile immediately again.
Hopefully.
So, are you still curious about the Cavendish, or should we talk about something else?
Yes. I wanted to know the history, what sparked or triggered the Cavendish in the first place. How did it come about? What made the guy think, this, so I'll put this together?
To be honest, I have no idea.
Okay.
May I ask you why you're so interested in this question?
Yeah, because usually in science, a question is asked, right? An observation is made, and you would say, I wonder why that happens. And you would do some research. So I wonder what research had been done prior to the Cavendish, and what question had been asked prior to Cavendish.
It's very obvious. It's
hold on, Arwin. I just want this guy here. He's can respond. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know historically. I can only speculate. Is that okay?
Yes. Well, not fine, but just for the sake of.
Yeah, for the sake of it, of course. If we want to take a Googling break, then we can try and do that. But so let's say we start off at the beginning and we pretend that we don't know anything about Newton or whatever, or maybe we are Newton, and there's sort of this thing around us that we always accept, is that things just sort of fall to the ground. That's just a thing that happens that we see every day. Mm-hmm. And let's a scientist say okay, why does this happen?
Oh, sorry. I'll be back.
Everything okay?
The house is burning down.
I hope not. Should I keep going, or? I mean, if he was the one that was engaging with me. Okay, I'll wait. So how are the rest of you doing?
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, carry on. I can hear you. Yeah, that was just carry on.
Okay. I was just. I mean, if your house is burning down, I don't want to scream to you about the Cavendish experiment while that's happening. So, yeah, we have this weird thing. I mean, if I push this cup I have right here that you can't see off the table, it will fall to the ground and probably break. Why does this happen?
Can I interject a little historical detail?
Absolutely.
The guy just started talking.
Very short. Okay, yeah. Isaac Newton, according to the official dates, lived from 1642 to 27. And Cavendish lived from 1797 to, or the Cavendish experiment was performed in 1797. So, yeah, Newton was already a widely known thing in science circles, was already probably adapted to the teaching methods in the school systems for physics. And yeah, this is a lifetime later, so they definitely knew about Newton.
Of course, of course. I thought that was a given, but I just didn't know exactly, like, if Cavendish is thought of as the main first experiment, or if there was like a handful other experiments before then, or whatever. But yeah, so I guess the very special thing about gravity is that it's sort of acting on a distance. I mean, we can make things move by touching them, but suddenly something is making something move without touching it, as far as we can see. Now, let's try and get to the Cavendish through this by assuming that maybe mass of objects have something to do with this. Maybe mass is causing movement in a weird way. And I heard a sigh. Do you want to interject something? Or
No, we're always going to want to interject, but I think you should keep talking without interjections.
I'm going to get later to where we probably clash in our thinking, but so we have to find a way to get rid of all other sources of movement. We know that electromagnetism can move things from a distance in a similar fashion, so we don't want any of that shenanigans affecting the experiment, and we don't want any friction or anything else like that to mess up the movement of the experiment. And I think what we all can see then, maybe, is that you might think of something like the Cavendish experiment, where you have some sort of pivot point with minimal friction possible, preferably zero, but you know, that's only when you study math in school. You can very happily assume that friction is zero, but in practice, not so much. And what we then see is that by, for example, what you can see all over YouTube, placing two bowling balls close to two weights on the end of a rotating stick, there's some movement here.
Yeah, we've seen it demonstrated.
Yeah, of course. So
the question, sorry to interrupt. So rather than us worrying about what the isolated variables will be, can you just give us?
I'm getting to it. So, like, just the limits of the Cavendish experiment. We all seen it. We all know what's happening.
No. Okay. We've all seen it. I agree with. We all know the story that's attached to it. I agree with, but none of us know what's really happening.
I only meant that we place weights somewhere and then we see a different movement. Can we agree on that?
Right. Hold on, Anthony. Hold on.
Yeah,
hold on. You've used the word experiment, like P. Mars, on multiple occasions. Well, an experiment is a hypothesis test. So just give us the hypothesis.
Hypothesis, mass, cause, movement.
Sorry, do you know what a hypothesis is?
No, hang on.
Oh, hold on, Anthony.
Causes movement.
Hold on. Do you know what a hypothesis is?
Why doesn't that hold up as a hypothesis?
Sorry, Anthony. So, do you know what a hypothesis is?
Are you asking me?
You're the one who keeps saying the word experiment. I would assume you know what a hypothesis is, given that an experiment is a hypothesis test.
Calm down. So,
don't tell me to calm down. Firstly, right, how dare you? I've asked you a question. Don't tell me to calm down. Just give me the answer. Do you know what a hypothesis is? Yes or no? If the answer is no, I will tell you. If the answer is yes, tell me why you haven't given it us.
Well, the answer is yes, and the reason why I haven't given it is because when someone says all of a sudden, do you know what this is, and you don't per se have the literal like definition on hand, then you might want to start talking about in general terms when you use the word hypothesis and what it's used for, and then you're always afraid that the other person will start screaming, no, this is way too much, the definition is this, I have it right in front of me.
Sorry, what are you babbling about? What is a hypothesis?
I don't have the clear definition right in front of
me.
So
you don't know what a hypothesis is?
I don't see how those two
Why
are the same
you talking
thing.
about experiments if you don't know what a bloody hypothesis is?
Give me the definition if you go.
No!
Come on.
You have come on and told us that we're doing experiments, and you've made yourself sound smart by talking about how we need to isolate variables. Then when I ask you what a hypothesis is,
I never said variable. I'm not even sure I said
experiment. You told us about how we need to tie down things like electromagnetism and the effects on the experiment, correct?
I never said it like that, but...
Sorry, that would be isolation of variables. I don't care how you said it. I know what you meant. You meant we need to isolate variables.
So you're attacking me for talking so much about experiments, and then you're paraphrasing me to make me talk so much about experiments.
Sorry, you don't know what an experiment is. If you did, you'd know the hypothesis, because an experiment is a hypothesis test.
Mm-hmm. And
What
why
do you mean,
doesn't
So give me the hypothesis for the experiment you're detailing. Give it me now.
mass causes movement?
That's not a hypothesis. That's why I asked you if you understood what one was. That's
Why
not
isn't it?
a hypothesis. Number one, a hypothesis has two sides. The alternative and the null. The zero difference and if your presumed cause pans out as the cause. It has both. The null and the alternative. You've not given that. That's because you don't know what you're talking about. Yet you're asking us about whether or not our belief in your experiment, which is not actually an experiment, proves something. You don't even know what a hypothesis is. Why are you here telling us about experiments?
Well, I was here because I thought I could have a conversation with someone of an
Hold on,
opposite worldview.
before you go further, do you agree with Nathan, or you don't agree with what was said?
I don't agree with the ways being so anal about.
I couldn't give a crap what you believe in. You're a retard. You don't know what you're talking about. You're talking about experiments. Now, experiments are hypothesis tests. So if you're going to talk about an experiment, you better damn well know what a hypothesis is, or you're going to have me shouting at you for being an idiot. I'm demonstrating your stupidity. If you don't like the way I talk to you, sod off. Don't come here talking about experiments unless you understand implicitly that they are hypothesis tests. Okay?
Will, can I ask you a question?
I'm going to step in and say you're being harsh, Nathan.
Can I quickly respond to Nathan before your question? I would gladly take any questions you have, but I would.
Why would I ask you any questions? I'm not asking you anything. You're a retard. You don't know what an experiment is. You've come here to pretend to be clever. I'm not asking you anything. You've demonstrated that you don't know what you're talking about. If you did, you wouldn't talk about experiments unless you understood that they're hypothesis tests. And then when asked for the hypothesis, you'd give it, rather than give me a load of techno-babble, nonsense, and then finally summarise by saying, no, I don't know what a hypothesis is. Why would I ask you anything? Why would I ask you anything?
I wasn't talking to you. Someone just said, may I ask you a question? And I asked that person, not you, Nathan, if I could respond to Nathan first before he asked the question. I never claimed that you, Nathan, asked me a question.
I don't care. I don't care about any of this. Why have you come on and pretended to know about experiments and Cavendish when you don't know what a hypothesis is? That's my question. Why are you pretending to be clever here?
I came on to try and talk to you guys about this Cavendish experiment.
Yes, which you don't understand because you don't understand that it's a hypothesis test. So why, my question remains, are you here asserting stuff like you're clever and understand it when you do not?
I think you very much... I don't know, what's the word?
Don't play a victim. I don't want to hear about what you think. Just answer me. Why are you pretending to be clever and asserting things about experiments when you don't know what they are? Don't sigh. Just tell me why you're here being a pretender clown.
I'm here to talk to you guys. I thought this would be a conversation between two people.
Yes, it was, until we figured out that you're retarded and don't know what you're talking about. You're asserting things like you're intelligent, but you're not. And I've demonstrated by asking simply, what's a hypothesis, that you are a pretender clown.
Projecting, that's the word I was looking for.
I'm not projecting. I'm demonstrating by questioning you. Very simple question. What is a hypothesis? You don't know! That's not me projecting. That's me demonstrating your stupidity.
It is a proposed explanation for a phenomena.
Oh, really? What's the phenomena? In the Cavendish experiment. Now we're getting somewhere.
The movement.
Sorry. Do you not understand that in science we study naturally occurring phenomena? Science being a study of the natural world? Are you telling me that the movement of balls made by man is a naturally occurring phenomena? You complete idiot!
Why would
Don't ask me a question. Are you suggesting that this man-made device is our naturally observed phenomena, you complete retard? By the way, that's not a projection. That's a demonstration of your retardation. You, a retard, thinks a man-made device is a naturally occurring phenomena because you are stupid. Stupid. That's what you are. By demonstration, by me. Stop interrupting. Don't interrupt when I point out to the audience just how stupid you are. You think a man-made object is a natural phenomena. That, sir, makes you a retard.
This is a very interesting claim on your part.
What? That a man-made device is not a naturally occurring phenomena? No, that's not a claim, that's a fact.
So if we do science, we can only go out in nature
that's
and
a
look
fact.
at stuff.
Your observed phenomena does not take place in the natural world. You're not observing naturally occurring phenomena. This is not science. That's what science studies. I want to hear, I understand, Nathan. I've built a contraption, and then I'm going to label that contraption a phenomena. Even though the phenomena was caused by man making it, I'm going to decide that it's a phenomena.
So the entirety of modern science is not science, because they built a huge collider to try and test natural
Shut up about the collider. Well, we're talking about Cavendish. This is another red herring, dickhead. So, are you going to concede? Are you going to concede that your observed phenomena... don't talk about Hadron Colliders and don't talk over me. I'm still waiting. You haven't conceded a single thing yet. Are you going to concede that the Cavendish is not studying a naturally occurring phenomena or not?
If you define natural occurring phenomena as, I don't even know, things that happen in nature which humans is not involved with, then I guess, but I don't see why you would make that distinction.
I guess. Sorry, do you guess that this man-made contraption is not a naturally occurring phenomena? Do you guess that, or do you concede?
I concede that is the case for the definition.
Excellent. So we're not doing science with the Cavendish because it does not have a naturally occurring phenomena. This is not science. Okay?
I would not say that your definition of naturally occurring phenomena is applicable to the word of science.
We're not doing science. Sorry, science is a study of the physical and natural world. Natural world means not made or caused by man.
Really?
Yes!
I was under the impression that natural is just the normal world and humans are part of the world. Humans are quite natural, if you ask me.
Right. Natural has many types of interpretation, and I think you're lending that interpretation from a more organic field.
It's interesting now. We got two ballers now arguing.
No,
Nathan.
I'm not a baller. No. I just stick up for what I know.
I managed to get the flatter on my side. Woo.
No. Natural opposes supernatural.
Shut up.
That's how that was
Arwin,
intended. That's the spirit of that law.
Shut up.
Yeah, I know. It's lovely quote.
Shut up. Shut up and let this dickhead on the panel, let this dickhead Will read what it says on screen. Read it for me, idiot.
No, you go read
Owen, shut up or I'll kick you out.
Another quote that
Owen, if you keep referencing this point, I will kick you out. Read it.
I just did, but he talked over me, but I can read it again. All of the animals, plants, and other things existing in nature and not made of or caused by people.
Sorry, what part of not made or caused by people do you think that covers man-made things in the natural world?
I would not think this definition of natural world...
You just said your definition of what is man-made is wrong, Nathan. I think men and people and what they make is very natural. So, you're wrong.
You've seen that this has turned into semantics, right?
Not semantics. This is what we are talking about. That's what semantics is. The details about the words we used. We're talking about... Don't talk over me. We're talking about the natural world, things that are not made or caused by man, and the Cavendish experiment is made by man. It is not under the bracket of science, because it is not a study of a naturally occurring phenomena. Will you concede this, or will you go away with your religious belief that the Cavendish proves something scientifically?
I will concede that this definition of natural world does not work with my definition of science.
Yeah, science is a study of the physical and natural world. Natural world does not include things made by man. And I'll tell you why. Because if you try and establish the cause of what is made by man, man caused it, you complete idiot. When they made it, that was the cause, man made it. You don't need to scientifically... Shut up! You don't need to scientifically establish a cause and effect relationship when man caused it by making it. That's your cause, idiot. That's why it excludes man-made things. Because the cause of them is man made them!
May I ask you a question?
No, I don't want you to ask me anything.
It's what I thought it was. You're wrong, Nathan. You're lending a word from natural science, which is a totally different approach using different types of words. Because if you actually look for the scientific approach of the natural world, there's different things tend to come up. Like the definition that I described, which is the correct interpretation.
Nathan,
like I'm presenting right now.
Nathan, put my screen on, please.
Yeah, one at a time. Arwen, go ahead. Where's this from?
Googled it.
No, what's the source? What's the site? What's the site? I went to Merriam-Webster.
Rationalskeptics.org.
Sorry, that's not a dictionary definition like Merriam-Webster then.
Right.
How is this not semantics?
I'm looking right here.
Sorry,
and there's only
we're going to just go to random written blog as opposed to a dictionary.
And then there's the scientific theory separate.
Sorry, we're looking at a definition of the natural world, Arwen.
There's only the natural science interpretation of that word that I can find.
Why are we not looking? Why are we looking at scientific theory rather than natural world?
Natural world scientific definition. I'll keep on looking because I can only find the natural science.
There we go, Collins Dictionary. Click on that one.
Get the dictionary.
There's loads of dictionaries there. Collins Dictionary, I see. Oh, we're going to another random ThoughtCo website rather than just a dictionary definition.
Oh, come on, don't. I'm looking. So
no, what you're doing is the Texas sharpshooter. Let's find the bit that best matches my argument. Let's take this screen.
That's the first page.
Yeah, I went to a dictionary definition and it makes it clear. The guest agreed.
Natural science
definition.
Natural science. Natural world.
Yeah,
natural science. Yeah, that's not the scientific method.
You're a fraud.
No, there's no scientific method even described in there. Where's the scientific method? Where is it? Where is it? Where do you see it?
We were discussing.
I don't see them together.
Natural world and Strawman in the
world. Here, see animal, plants, things not by man-made. It's no relation to the scientific method whatsoever.
I can show you one.
Natural science, physics, chemistry, biology. See?
Arwen.
Oxford Dictionary. There is a very good explanation. And this.
The Merriam-Webster.
Hold on,
Arwen, shush.
Lovely. Oh, no. I'm not going to shush because I'm bringing on a very good point.
You rumpus in the hangout.
No. I'm just...
Right. So, when our new guest said that it's just become a game of semantics, under this title, Scientific Hypothesis, Theory and Law, we have a PhD writing person by the name of Anne-Marie Helmenstein. Words have precise meaning in science. For example, theory, law, hypothesis, natural would be a word we could put in here. Don't all mean the same thing. Outside of science, you might say they're just a theory, meaning it's a supposition that it may or may not be true. But in science, a theory is an explanation that is generally accepted to be true. And then it talks about other words. But the key word is words have precise meanings in science. So unfortunately, semantics is part of the game, guys.
Okay, so this point only supports your side if you also show a scientific use of natural world.
Yeah.
That agrees with your claim that you can't have man-made experiments.
Yeah, the word natural in science is
not man-made experiments. Sorry, no, not man-made experiments. No, that's not what we said. You can't have a man.
I'm sorry.
So, is the Cavendish experiment a part of the physical world?
Sorry, Zinder.
Natural.
You can't, it's not that the experiment can't be man-made. It's the dependent variable, the observed phenomena. Because if your observed phenomena is made by man, then man made it. That's your cause. There is no need to scientifically validate something that was caused by man making it, because that's the cause. That's why it's excluded. If you can't figure out that the cause of something being made by man is man making it, then you're stupid.
And yet you let Quantum Eraser talk about science, saying that the quantum split, the double slit experiment is science, but geologic isn't.
He's not even here.
It is.
What are you asking when he's
here?
And
yet you let bubble him about this topic all the time.
He's not even
here. And here I have a better explanation.
He's not here. Hello. He's not even here.
Yeah, you have a better explanation.
Zinder, this is a red herring. Okay, you're distracting from the main point of the conversation. If I can just jump in real quick and ask Will. Okay, Will.
Yes.
Do you realize that we are back to the beginning where Spurs asked you the question, what was the Cavendish experiment based upon? That is, what was the observed phenomenon in nature that was not man-made that Cavendish said, I'm going to try to figure that out. That is where we are right now. We have come full circle. And so the question remains to you, what was it in his world that he observed that Cavendish said,
The answer to that I think I gave when I was trying to speculate how we would get to the Cavendish experiment. And my example right then was taking my cup, pushing it off the table and seeing it fall to the floor.
Okay, so my question to you is, in the Cavendish experiment, what falls from a location high to a location low?
I wouldn't take the thing we see that literal. I would just say we see some acceleration.
So he sees a natural phenomenon, a cup falling from the table height, smashing to the floor, and he creates an experiment that does not reduplicate the observation that he made. He
replicates the acceleration of an object, which is the same thing as something falling off a table.
So I don't see the Cavendish experiment is intended to prove acceleration?
Yes.
Really?
Okay. So what is the hypothesis? Here we are now again, please. Don't make a statement. Form an hypothesis, please.
Well, to be fair, he did do that before. He said mass causes movement.
Yeah, but that's not a strict hypothesis, is it? Which is what Nathan's point was.
Well, it's not a good hypothesis, at least. I mean, it's very hard to prove, per se.
Hold on. What do you mean? What do you mean it's not a good hypothesis? It's difficult to prove. A hypothesis isn't proving anything. It's a scientific prediction. The way you validate it is through the experiment. That's the point. No. Listen, don't talk when I'm talking. The whole point of a hypothesis is to establish your presumed cause of the observed phenomena. So first, we need to know what you observed. Then we try and establish what you think causes that phenomena. So you're saying, we observe the phenomena of teacup falling. Then we go forward to establish an independent variable to establish the cause. Why are you still talking?
I'm just showing where my hypothesis fits into your wording.
I haven't finished speaking. Don't fit it into the wording while I'm still saying it.
I thought it turned very pedagogical. I don't know why you had to ruin it.
Sorry, your hypothesis. Fine. If you've got a full hypothesis, give me both the alternate and the null hypothesis for the Cavendish right now. Let's see how well you get on.
Well, wouldn't the alternative be mass has no effect on the acceleration we observe?
You tell me. What's the null? What's the zero difference then?
I don't remember which one is the null and which one is the other one, so I'm sorry for if I'm dodging questions just because I'm a bit
Not
ignorant.
dodging questions, appearing stupid.
Well, I'm sorry.
Yes, don't apologise. It disgusts me that somebody can come here, tell me that they haven't got the vaguest idea how to formulate the hypothesis for the experiment they claim proves a religious belief, and then apologise. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm too stupid to formulate this into a scientific hypothesis, but it is real, and I do believe it, and you guys need to talk to me and ask me questions about it. No
offense, but I think you're the one holding this conversation back right now. I think most people are very interested to hold
no problem.
Let's move
it forward at a rapid pace. Give me the hypothesis for the Cavendish experiment.
Mass causes acceleration. Otherwise, mass has no effect on the acceleration we observe. So those are a null and a whatever you call the other one.
So you're establishing that mass causes acceleration. So if mass, then acceleration. If no mass, then no acceleration. Where's gravity in this?
Well, if we do manage to show that, look, we put a bowling ball here, for example, and
sorry,
it caused
no, we're still at hypothesis stage. Sorry, don't tell me about the experiment. Okay, dumbass? We're talking about the hypothesis, which makes no sense.
Why would you interrupt me when I'm getting
Because we're talking about the hypothesis for gravity, and you're telling us about if mass, then acceleration. Well, that's not
maybe
gravity.
We want to put a name to this.
You're interrupting me.
What name
aren't you
might
trying to prove gravity? Surely the hypothesis would at least mention gravity. You don't seem to be mentioning gravity. This seems to be utter bollocks. You seem like a retard who doesn't understand what he's talking about. You seem to be formulating a non-scientific hypothesis with an invalid null. So
if I call my...
Why are you holding this conversation up? Why can't you hurry up and give us a valid hypothesis? Stop holding this conversation back. You're slowing this conversation down. You're slowing it right down. Give us a valid hypothesis, not nonsense. Something that's scientifically valid. Give us that. Stop slowing the conversation down, retard.
And what if I say that the phenomena of mass causing acceleration, I would call this...
the phenomena of mass causing acceleration. Show me in the natural world. Show me in the natural world that phenomena. Where can I experience that phenomena?
Cup falling off a table. Apple falling from a tree.
So you're trying to establish the cause of an apple falling from the tree. Where is that in the experiment?
Yeah, why don't we just go back to his cup? What caused the cup to fall off the table?
Here's the question I wanted to ask.
No. You said he observed a cup falling off the table. How did the cup fall off the table?
Oh, in my example, I pushed it.
Did the cat push
There's your cause. Stop. Don't need any more science. There's your cause, you retard. You caused it. Hello. Do you understand, or are you really this stupid? You've just told us the cause of the cup falling. You pushed it. Idiot.
But I gave it momentum in one direction.
Yes,
and then
that's right. You caused it. That's correct. What part of this don't you get? Why do you need to scientifically validate you moving your hand and pushing something? Are you that stupid that you need to scientifically validate that? You did it. You took control of your hand with your brain, you moved it next to the cup, pushed the cup and it fell. You don't need to scientifically validate that. You did it.
This is a very absurd discussion. So, take an apple from a tree then. I mean, if you don't want me involved, and the humans involved, take an apple falling from a tree.
Okay, so your observed phenomena is apple falls from tree.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
What is the cause of this phenomena?
You tell me. You're the one telling us that that's a phenomena. Tell us your scientific validity. Is it Cavendish that proves why apple falls from trees?
No.
So what? Hold on. We're trying to establish the phenomena in the Cavendish experiment. You're telling us about cups. Now you're telling us about apples. We want to know about the phenomena in the test you're asserting.
Yes, and I didn't think this was
so
such a hard
is the phenomena
thing
in the Cavendish test
so
an apple falling from a tree? Is
to
that the
explain.
phenomena? So the phenomena in the Cavendish experiment is an apple falling from a tree, is it? I don't see that happening in the experiment. What? I don't see that phenomena. Certainly don't see you causing that phenomena with the experiment, with your independent variable.
To try and highlight how absurd your thinking is?
No, this is not a scientific experiment. It's the experiment that's absurd, not my explanation and my ripping it a new one. That just establishes firmly with the audience that this isn't science.
Can I ask you a question to show why?
No, my question again. What's the observed phenomena in the Cavendish experiment?
Mass causes acceleration.
Where can I see this occurring naturally?
Apple falling from a tree.
So, in the Cavendish experiment, we are establishing the cause of the effect of apples falling from trees. The observed phenomena.
Yes.
Oh, really? Show me that. Show me that apple falling from the tree and the independent variable that causes it in the Cavendish experiment.
If we accept the Cavendish experiment's result as true...
Oh, so we have to do the experiment first before observing any phenomena. Don't you understand the method of science? The first thing you do is observe a phenomena, not the experiment. You unbelievable idiot. We're trying to establish step 1 in the scientific method.
Your scientific
not
worldview,
step
you
5. Not shut up. Shut up
and
and listen. Shut up and listen, dumbass. We're not doing step 5 first. Step 1, observe a phenomena. Not step 1, do the experiment. So what's the phenomena?
The reason why I turned out backwards is because I thought the step from apple to experiment was very, very intuitive, but apparently you don't agree with that, so I had to figure out a way.
The observed phenomena is the thing you're trying to cause. The observed phenomena is the thing you're trying to cause with your independent variable. You're trying to vary and manipulate the independent variable to cause the dependent variable. If your dependent variable is an apple falling from a tree, then you're trying to vary and manipulate an independent variable to cause an apple to fall from the tree. That's your observed phenomena. You're trying to establish the cause of that phenomena. Now, if the phenomena is not an apple falling from a tree, then what is it?
Mass causing acceleration.
Oh, right. So that is a phenomena that we observe. Or is it the conclusion you draw from an apple falling from a tree?
Well, we see masses absolutely moving in the natural world.
Do we?
Mostly downwards for some reason.
Really? So if I have a cherry tomato in oil, does it go down? Or does it stay exactly where it is in that medium? Given that it's equal, why do you keep talking over me? Given that it's equal density, that cherry tomato doesn't move. So why would you assert that things naturally go down when they don't?
I mean, this is just asking to explain all of Newtonian motion.
You've just asserted things have a tendency to go down. What about water vapour? That goes up. What about helium? That goes up. What about cherry tomato in oil? It doesn't go in any direction. So why would you assert such nonsense when it simply isn't true? Is it because it fits in with your religious belief that we have a downward force called gravity?
It's very hard to try and answer these questions that require long explanations, and then you're going to interrupt me every 5 seconds.
Sorry, if your explanation tells me that I need to accept that mass is affected by gravity, or that an apple falling from a tree is a phenomena that's not being explored in the experiment, I'll shut you up and point out your nonsense. Yeah, that will make life difficult for a religious zealot punting his parlour trick as science when it isn't. It doesn't have a valid independent variable. It's not proving gravity as the cause, because you can't vary and manipulate gravity. And it doesn't have an observed phenomena. The thing you claim is the observed phenomena isn't what's happening in the test.
I think your scientific, oh, I lost the word. Constrictions makes anything very difficult to discuss.
Yes, science is very narrow. Isn't that a shame? If it was really widespread, everybody would find it really difficult to do a valid scientific experiment. Surprisingly, it's not easy. Surprisingly, it's very narrow. Surprisingly, it has quite strict limitations to stop pretender clown muppets like you abusing it.
How would you approach the apple falling down from the tree?
Who cares? This isn't my assertion. This is your assertion.
But
your
you
religious
have an
belief.
unexplained thing
You
here. I
back
want to
your
know.
religious belief. Don't ask me to explain why an apple falls. I'm not making any claim here. You are.
No, but you're sitting on a high horse of nothing.
Sorry, are we going to get to the observed phenomena in the Cavendish, or is that just going to get forgotten about because we're now talking about horses?
Well, apparently I managed to show some sort of relation between.
You haven't shown anything. We haven't even got a hypothesis from you yet. You haven't shown anything. You haven't shown anything. Don't assert that you've shown something. You haven't. Let's get that absolutely clear.
Does the Cavendish experiment show nothing in your belief?
Absolutely, it's just a parlor trick. Not science, doesn't demonstrate anything.
So, but something makes it move, so it must show some sort of...
I couldn't give a crap what you assert about your religious faith in this bloody parlor trick. If it's science, you'll tell us the independent dependent variable and formulate it into a hypothesis. That's what you'll do. If you can't do that, it's not science.
I mean, there's so many, like, problems I don't agree with that will run back into, like, your definition of the natural world, your belief that...
Oh, let's start there. What's wrong with my definition of natural world? Stop! What's wrong with saying that man-made things aren't the natural world because they're caused by man? What's wrong with that? Is that wrong?
Is that most experimental methods developed are man-made things.
Sorry, let's say it again for the retard who can't listen. Experiments can contain man-made devices. Your dependent variable, your observed phenomena, cannot be man-made. Don't shut up! Shut your stupid mouth! I did not say that science does not include man-made equipment. I said the dependent variable, the observed phenomena, cannot be man-made. Don't strawman me.
So if I redo the Cavendish experiment and I use apples...
What? Apples falling from trees? Sorry, your observed phenomena, according to you, is an apple falling from a tree.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't happen in the Cavendish experiment. You're not causing that... Shut up. You are not causing that phenomena in the Cavendish experiment, you idiot.
So if I would redo the Cavendish experiment, taking your feedback...
No, don't read me the Cavendish experiment. It's an experiment. You need first to give me the hypothesis. Don't read me the experiment. Step 1 in the scientific method, observe a phenomena. Step 2, formulate your hypothesis. Don't get onto the experiment yet. First, give me step 1. Tell me what the phenomena is. Once you establish what that is, formulate that as the dependent variable in a hypothesis.
So let's start from the beginning. Apple falling from tree. I think it's the mass of the apple being attracted by the mass of the Earth, making this movement happen. If I then strap...
So your independent variable, the cause, would be the mass of the Earth, then?
And the apple. Both of them are involved.
So the cause would be the mass of the Earth.
And the apple.
So the apple is...
Because otherwise it would be a theory of Earth mass.
Sorry, I'm just trying to establish the observed phenomena in the Cavendish experiment.
That would attract things.
Sorry, I'm trying to establish the observed phenomena in the Cavendish experiment. That's not the phenomena I see when the Cavendish experiment's presented, sir. What aren't you getting about this? That's not what they show as the observed phenomena, is it? They're not causing that effect, are they?
The whole question is whether we can substitute the apple and show the same phenomena, if that is acceptable within science or not, which you disagree with.
Right, what is the phenomena?
Mass causing acceleration.
Mass causing acceleration. So the cherry tomato has mass, and it's not going anywhere because the medium it's in is the same.
Yes.
So what acceleration are you talking about? Is it based on your assumption that things tend to go down? Because they don't. That's your assumption. So is your phenomena based on your misunderstandings about things going down?
Well, now you're changing the thing we're talking about. Like, now I could call you doing a red herring. You've changed the medium of the movement we're moving through.
Oh no, because that's what I would assert was the cause. The medium. You see, your apple is more dense than the air. That would be the cause.
So now we're on to your beliefs.
Well, you can call it that if you will. It's easy to demonstrate. Your demonstration of gravity seems to be a bit of a shitfest, because we're not establishing any cause and effect relationships. Laugh it up.
Yeah, I was reading the chat, that's all.
Oh, this is beautiful. This is how a debate should look like. Beautiful job, guys.
Yeah, by misconception about science and completely cherry picking everything. Yeah, perfect. I have a better definition of science, Nathan, than you think, because this definition includes physical world, not only natural, also physical. Shall I show it to you?
You still won't understand why you can say that an apple shows the same phenomenon as a ball.
Here.
So you're never going to get him by just redefining science.
No, he redefines science. The rest of the world accepts the normal definition of science. He just thinks it's something else.
Yeah,
this is why he doesn't get anything.
Sorry.
Here,
Science
the
is a study of
intellectual
the physical and natural world.
particular activity encompassing the systematic study of the structure and behavior of the physical and natural world through
Yeah, that's exactly what I said. A study of the physical and natural world. Physical and natural.
Yeah, physical includes man-made
Sorry,
things.
physical includes... Sorry, shut up, Cinder. Physical on its own might include man-made things, but when you say physical and natural, the word natural implies the correlation of both together, the connection of the two. Both physical and natural. Not physical or natural, and natural, Zinder. Do you know what and means? In combination with, idiot. So not physical or natural, physical and natural.
No, you just don't understand it.
Sorry, so and
everything.
So and does not mean in combination with, Zinder. The word and doesn't mean in combination
necessarily.
with.
No, in this case it doesn't, Nathan.
Oh, in this case, and means or. Because it needs to, because you need a man-made thing to be your phenomena. No. And does not mean or. And means
together.
and. Physical and natural world, meaning physical and natural. Not physical or natural. Physical and natural.
No,
in combination,
just made it
as
up.
one, together, not alone,
That's not the spirit of
separate,
the law.
not either or, physical and natural. That is what we are studying when we study science. The physical and natural world. Not just the physical or natural world, physical and natural, as opposed to the supernatural. We're not studying the supernatural, we're studying the physical and natural.
Oh, this is why logic, statistic go under the definition of science?
Logic and science are not the same. No.
It
no.
is. Logic is a part of science.
No, there is no logic in science. There is an establishment of a cause and effect relationship. You do not need logic if you are doing science.
No, logic is a part of science.
No, it is not. Science is a study of the physical and natural world. It establishes cause and effect through hypothesis-driven experimentation. That is science. It is not logic.
Logic is a part of science.
Logic is a part of mathematics. Logic is not science. Science establishes cause and effect through systematic experimentation of the physical and natural world. not
Yeah,
logic. That's
Yeah, go ahead
science.
and pick. Go ahead and cherry pick
Logic
everything
lies
you need.
in the philosophy branch, isn't there?
In the philosophy logic.
There is no philosophy in science.
It is. It is categorized in the philosophy sector.
That's not
There is
science,
no
then, is it? That's
philosophy in
philosophy,
science.
Arwin. Science isn't philosophy.
Yep.
Science is science. Science being the thing that establishes a cause and effect through hypothesis-driven experimentation of the physical and natural world. That's science, not philosophy.
Which philosophy doesn't fit in science exactly.
Can I jump in just real quick and Nathan, correct me if I'm wrong. Would you feel comfortable if we took out the and simply put a comma, thereby having the same designation?
Sorry,
No.
so would I be
It's
happy
the
if you
physical,
if you changed the
natural
definition of
world.
science? Sorry, you're
Could
asking if
we?
I'm happy to change
course we
the
could.
definition of what science
Nathan.
studies?
Okay, so
Cherry pick.
Amanda, can you give me an example of something you can do scientifically with a non-physical thing? If it's non-physical, how do you experiment with it?
I think most physicists just take whatever you say isn't physical and think you're talking about supernatural things and just conclude that it doesn't exist and continue.
Yeah, so physical would mean it's tangible. You'd have to be able to actually touch it, demonstrate with it.
Right,
It's not just
like
something
gravity.
that is just non-physical.
Well, physical world, I think the definition would be just like anything made of
Physical
matter.
and natural. Let's not ignore the and natural part.
Oh, Nathan.
What do you mean, oh, Nathan? He read it out. Did you not hear Zinder read it out? I read out what the natural world was.
Yes, I didn't
Zinder
think
read
someone
out
would
what
take
science
the word
studies.
and
Why are you
put
talking
this
over me? Is it because it demolishes
restraint
your
on
religious
the
belief?
definition? Oh,
Do you have
my
to
goodness.
rumpus me every time I talk? Zinder read it out. It made it clear. The words used were physical and natural. Physical and, not comma, not or, and. So why oh Nathan? Is it because it doesn't conform with your religion? Because you need to be looking at man-made things even though they're made by man? That would be the cause. Anybody got a tumbleweed sound effect?
That was a very good tumbleweed.
So, we are looking at the physical and natural world, and the Cavendish experiment, the thing that you want to look at step 1, not a phenomena, is man-made.
Well, I guess we can agree on that at least.
Yeah, so it's not science. So you've come on
It
the
is
panel...
man-made, but it can still be science. Just look at the Large Hadron Collider.
Sorry, we aren't talking about the Large Hadron
makes you think that
Collider.
Large Hadron
We're
Collider
talking
is
about
science?
the Cavendish experiment. And it does not have an observed phenomena, because the observed phenomena you detailed don't get caused by your independent variable in the Cavendish experiment. You're not causing those phenomena.
What makes you think that the Hadron Collider is science?
I mean, I guess I'm using science in the sort of way that most people would use it. I'm guessing by
The
your
wrong way.
stricter
Yeah, we know.
definition.
That's why I
of made
keep
of
shouting
science,
at you.
it's not.
You're using it in the wrong way. The idiot's way. The generally I think I know what science is way. Then someone like me comes along and says, what's a hypothesis? And you give the most retarded answer possible. So, you think you know what science is. You don't.
I was about to say there's no need for ad hominem attacks, but I think you disagree with that point.
No, an ad
Just-
hominem attack. An ad hominem attack is when you do not address the person's argument and you call them stupid. Or attack a part of their character. I'm not...
It's
Shut
not
up.
ad hominem
Shut
if you do address
up.
their
Shut
argument
up.
and call them.
Shut up. An ad hominem attack is where you do not address the other person's argument. That's not what I'm doing. I'm demonstrating your stupidity based on what you have said. So when I ask you for what a hypothesis is, and you can't give me an answer, and then I take that's your stupidity causing that, that's a fact based on demonstrated evidence, based on your words, based on your demonstration of your own stupidity. That's not an ad hominem attack. That's me demonstrating your stupidity using your own words. Okay? Not an ad hominem. You are demonstrably stupid. I'm demonstrating that. That's not an ad hominem attack.
So can I ask you about your refined science and how you would do it?
I'm not making any claims. Why are you asking me to tell you about my science? For what? Have I presented an experiment here? Like the Cavendish that you've explained?
Your definition of science is very good at finding descriptions of the physical or natural world.
Yep.
Yeah, what, an observed phenomena? The thing we're trying to establish in the Cavendish experiment?
Yeah, so if you see an apple falling from a tree and you want to use science to determine the cause, how would you go by doing so?
Who cares? I'm not claiming that. You are. Why are you asking me to validate your religious assertions?
I'm trying to point out how your definition of science isn't very useful.
Oh, really? Not useful for you when you use the Cavendish experiment, which is not an experiment. No, you're right.
Their definition.
You're right. It's not very useful for you to prove gravity. That's correct. It's useful to provide scientific discoveries. It's useful for establishing cause and effect. It's useful for explaining observed phenomena. That's what science does.
But you haven't proven this.
It's not useful. It's not useful. It's not useful. Let's shut him up because he doesn't want to shut his mouth. Science isn't very useful for pretender clown muppets who don't know what they're talking about and assert that a man-made device proves gravity. No, science isn't very useful for you.
Nathan, you did make a claim. Silence, okay. You did make a claim that science is useful to find out cause and effect.
That's what science is.
So I pointed out an apple falling from a tree, and I asked you to use science to find the cause and effect. Which
Why?
Are you interested in doing that?
Sorry,
are you
why?
interested in using science in that, Nathan?
Sorry, why? Why are you asking me to do that? What's your claim?
I think your definition of science is useful.
That's called the burden. Sorry, another fallacy. Let's point out for the audience. That's called the burden of proof reversal. Another logical fallacy. This is your claim. Okay, dickhead? I'm not going to validate your claim. If you want to claim that you've got an observed phenomena and you want to science the shit out of it, be my guest. Don't ask me to. It's not my claim.
But you just did make the claim, didn't you? That
Yes, science absolutely establishes cause and effect. This is a fact. If you want to challenge that, go ahead. I'll laugh at you.
I think it is, but I don't think your definition of science
establishes cause and effect.
Man-made phenomena.
Science establishes cause and effect based on natural phenomena. That's correct.
So, how would you then use your stricter definition than the layman one to explain the cause and effect of a falling apple?
I'm not trying to explain it. You are. That's,
so
again, the second time you have done this, you fallacious idiot. That's called the burden of proof reversal. This is your claim, not mine. Don't ask me to scientifically validate your observed phenomena. If you want to science the shit out of it, be my guest. Don't ask me to do it again. That's a fallacy. The burden of proof fallacy reversal. It's simple. I'm not going to prove your assertions. Okay?
I didn't think this was going to be so difficult. Can I rephrase?
Yeah, you thought it'd be easy. You thought you'd come in here, say, yeah, Cavendish is an experiment. It proves gravity.
It is an experiment and it does prove gravity.
I didn't get that far, but still.
So give us the hypothesis. Stop wasting time. If it's an experiment, a hypothesis test, give us the full hypothesis.
So many problems. I'm showing it in my diagram here. My avatar showing the hypothesis for the Cavendish experiment.
That's
just
maths.
there.
That's mathematics.
All independent and dependent variables have a mathematical relationship.
No, they do not. You establish your scientific experimentation through manipulating the independent variable. This is not science. This is maths. Go to a maths forum. Sod off to a maths forum.
In the Cavendish
Get out.
experiment.
Sod off to a maths forum. That's not science. That's mathematics.
So math is not useful in science. Or...
Sorry, I'll say it again. Science establishes a cause and effect relationship based on independent and dependent variables. Science is hypothesis driven. A hypothesis is a scientific prediction. In your prediction, you will establish both if the cause, your presumed cause, is the cause, what will happen, i.e. the dependent variable, the effect, or the null, what will happen if there's zero difference. That's science. You validate or validate your hypothesis through systematic experimentation, not mathematics. Varying and manipulating, and quite finished. You're just not patient enough. Yeah, it doesn't take one word. It takes a few to explain the very narrow science that is used to establish cause and effect, not mathematics.
Very, very interesting, Nathan. Could you please, since I'm curious, give me an example of a cause and an effect that you think have been proven by the scientific method?
No, I'm not making any claims. If you want to make a claim, I'll rip it a new one.
But then you can't defend your claim that science is
haven't made a claim, dickhead. I don't have anything to defend. I haven't made any claims. So but don't tell me I can't defend a claim that I haven't made. I haven't made any.
Did you not make a claim that science is useful to
establish cause and effect through systematic experimentation using independent and dependent variables? Yes, that is a fact. That is what science is. If you want to dispute it, be my guest. You won't. It is. That's science. That's what science does.
You're just saying that your claim is a fact.
Yeah, it is.
Which isn't going to convince anyone, now is it?
Oh, right. Well, feel free to disprove what I state.
You can't even defend it to begin with.
Yeah, that's because you're a retard. You don't even know what a hypothesis is. How would you be expected to defend this? You don't know what it is. You're telling me I don't know what it is. You've got nothing to challenge me with. Absolutely nothing.
Science should be on your side, Will. What's going on here?
Yeah, but I'm trying to take his now a bit weird definition of science.
Why do you call it that?
Sorry, my definition of science is absolutely not weird. Science is a method for establishing a cause and effect relationship. It is done through hypothesis. Science is hypothesis driven. A hypothesis is a scientific prediction based on your independent variable, your presumed cause, and your dependent variable, your effect, your naturally occurring phenomena. That is science. You don't have to like it. You can deny it. You can claim that my strange example of what science might be. No, that is science. You don't have to like it. You don't have to understand it. You don't have to come here ever again saying, yeah, this is an experiment, but I don't know what a hypothesis is. That just makes you look like an idiot.
So what I wanted to do was to have you...
You kept being refuted by me then, Nathan. I just showed you up.
Sorry, did I not just tell you to sod off to a maths forum? We're not doing maths here, Rumpus. We're doing science.
That's a hypothesis. Hypotheses are in mathematical terms. That's what science uses.
No. Science establishes a cause and effect relationship with an independent and a dependent variable. What you are describing is not science. It's maths. Sod off to a maths forum.
And that equation is the
equations are mathematics. We are doing science. Go to a maths forum.
Maths is not reality, Rumpus. Sorry.
So what I wanted to do was to have you give an example of proper science in your mind, and see if I could find how this example that you give sort of this doesn't jive with the extremely strict definition that you're giving at the moment.
Oh, do you now? That's lovely. I'm not offering anything to you. You can offer your belief here, and we'll rip it a new one. Don't tell me to present you with anything. I consider you to be stupid and don't really want to be talking to you.
Then why don't you leave?
I can't leave. This is my show, you idiot. You can sod off any time you like.
So you're making a show you don't enjoy.
I don't enjoy talking to idiots that don't know what a hypothesis is, but yet come and tell me what that experiment proves. Hello, Melissa. Is that you, unorthodox?
Nathan, independent and dependent variables. You realize that, right?
Didn't hear the middle bit of what you said.
Independent and dependent variable are mathematical terms.
Sorry, no. An independent variable will be something that you can vary and manipulate as a researcher. Mathematics is mathematics, something you can change on paper using numbers. We're talking about physically varying and manipulating things. That's not maths. That's a physical variation that you, as a researcher, will make to your presumed cause, the independent variable. This isn't maths.
You just said math isn't science, but...
No, math isn't science. Math is math. Science is science. Math is math. They're two very different things. Okay? You're idiots. If you think math is science, you're just stupid. Okay?
Are you denying that independent and dependent variable aren't mathematical terms?
Correct. They're not mathematical terms.
They're not mathematical terms.
Doing maths. Nope. Doing science, not maths.
Yeah, that's total BS. That's where independent and dependent variable come from. They come from mathematics.
Variable being mathematical, please.
Excuse me?
Can we have a citation for your independent or dependent variable being maths in a scientific experiment, please?
No, I'm not saying in a specific. I'm not saying in an experiment. I'm just saying those terms are.
An experiment is a hypothesis test. An experiment is absolutely what you do in science. It is experiment based. If it doesn't agree with experimentation, then it's wrong. So you saying that you're not going to have an experiment is because you're doing maths, not science.
No, I'm not saying you're not going to have an experiment. I'm just saying...
Then you're doing science. If you are having an experiment, then you're going to be doing a hypothesis test and establishing when you, as the researcher, vary and manipulate the independent variable, the presumed cause, not a number, not mathematically manipulate it, just manipulate it. You might manipulate the quantity. That you could claim is mathematics, but you're varying and manipulating a physical thing to cause the effect. That's science, not maths.
Okay, so here's independent variable. A variable often denoted by x, whose variation does not depend on that of another. Noun, mathematics.
You want to bring it up on screen? Where are you reading this from?
Why does this keep coming back to words?
Sure, I'll bring it.
Yeah, everything's about words. Words are important.
Text. He's talking about a completely different context. Unorthodox is bringing up an entirely different context.
Not got it on
no,
screen.
I'm just bringing up the definition of the words. Let me
You're not
screen
bringing
share.
up anything. You've not got anything on screen.
Well, I have to screen share.
See it.
Can you see?
Yeah. You're taking it off already.
Independent variable. It's just the straight up definition of independent variable. Noun, mathematics. A variable often denoted by x, whose variation does not depend on that of another.
Right, so independent variable doesn't mean it's a mathematical construct. It just says that.
Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't. Where do you
Let's
get...
look up dependent variable. Dependent variable, noun, mathematics. A variable often denoted by y, whose variable depends on that of another. So your definition of science includes mathematical terms. And you're saying that mathematics isn't part of science, yet your definition of science includes words straight out of math, straight defined from mathematics. You're walking contradiction, Nathan.
Denotion doesn't mean let's include maths.
What Rumpus brought up was a mathematical formula, not a scientific
Exactly.
hypothesis.
With a...
Simple.
These are
Was
straight
that
out of
your
mathematics,
rebuttal?
guys.
A giggle? A giggle was your rebuttal?
I mean, these are straight out of mathematics.
You keep repeating
straight
yourself.
out of mathematics.
You keep
It
repeating
couldn't
yourself,
be
and we've addressed
clearer.
it. You're
That's
just
what
going to
I'm
repeat it
saying.
5
Listen,
more times.
You are isolating your definition to mathematics.
No, I'm not. I'm saying those words come from mathematics. That's where they come from.
No, it doesn't say that's where they come from. It says that's what they're being used in reference to.
This is the definition. This is the normal I didn't look up mathematical definition. I didn't look up anything else other than just the generic definition. These terms come straight from mathematics. You saw the screen. I didn't look up mathematical definition of dependent variable. I didn't look up mathematical definition of independent variable. I just looked up the definition of dependent and independent variable, and they come from mathematics.
Can we find the independent variable defined by more than one source, so it's at least consistent with what you're claiming?
Yeah, I was thinking if you want to prove this is the definition, then you shouldn't be able to find another one.
Sure.
Or
so
I
this
mean,
is coming from. I'm not sure exactly. I guess it's coming straight from Google. Please just use dictionary.com.
Hello, John.
Yeah, how's it going, man? I've just about had enough of this nonsense from pretender clowns, man.
You get your crown breakfast this morning?
Can I?
Hey,
shut up. Hey, Nathan, can you share my screen, please?
Yeah, sure.
1 second.
Well, I'm not done here. I'm not done here. Why are you going to share his screen? I'm looking
you're
at the
done.
second.
You're done here in about 20 seconds.
For dependent and independent variable.
Let me know when it's showing, and Nathan.
I mean, you can just find more and more definitions in the meanwhile.
Sure. Nathan, is it showing?
I can't seem to get it up for some reason.
1 second.
No, it's not your end, it's my end.
Really?
I actually don't see John in the Hangout.
Yeah, it's weird. I can do it a different way, though. Just give me a sec.
Okay.
Is this Quantum Eraser, John?
What name are you in?
You're presenting to the audience at the least, but just not to the Hangout, unfortunately.
Well, that's the point.
Your screen shared all the time, and then it stopped.
You want me to go? You want me to go for it anyway?
Yeah, the audience can see.
All right. From Physics About, a variable is any factor that can be changed or controlled. In math, a variable is a quantity that can assume any value from a set of values. A scientific variable is a little more complicated. Plus, there are different types of scientific variables. Scientific variables are associated with the scientific method. Variables are things which are controlled and measured as part of a scientific experiment. Pretender clown. So just put on your friggin' clown nose.
Dictionary.com.
What?
Sorry, he had to shut up.
I don't mute people in the Hangout. I think you've been muted on all.
I like the hype men, all the small comments.
So, we're not talking about mathematics. So, I kicked Rumpus for very good reason. He was presenting mathematics and not science.
Yeah. I think I'm going to head out. It was fun talking to you guys.
Yeah, you better head out because you're about to get crunched.
Sure. I wasn't expecting Nathan to be as toxic
as
the leader.
Toxic.
But, learn something every day.
We have a problem. The toxicity is brought in by you. You are the pretender clown, right?
I mean, I guess we just have to agree to disagree.
You don't know what hypothesis is. See,
you cannot go that, can you?
You see, you just say I'm toxic. I point out that you don't know something, and that gets me annoyed, and you laugh about it. You're toxic. You don't know what a hypothesis is. That's why I'm annoyed at you.
There's a difference between interrupting, asking exactly if the person is sure what an hypothesis is, and screaming at the top of your lungs that they're an idiot for not answering immediately with, you get it.
Yeah, I asked you what a hypothesis was. You claimed that you did. You then gave us a load of babble, and then eventually conceded that you didn't know what a hypothesis was.
I think I explained the reason for my babble, but you didn't want to listen because you were calling me an idiot at the time.
You are an idiot.
There goes
you are.
You are. That's correct. You are an idiot. You don't know what a hypothesis is. And then you laugh.
Yeah, you came in here pretender clowning.
Yeah,
like they all do.
Clever.
And you're these tiny little snowflakes that get so triggered as soon as I do.
Listen to you. Go sing Kumbaya with your bald-tarred boyfriends. What natural phenomena did you observe?
Apple falling from a tree. No, I've had it all. Let's have it.
The points where we disagree can't be found.
No, I can't actually answer the question, so I'll answer for him. Apple falling from a tree was what he gave as the observed phenomena.
I'm writing it down. Hold on. Apple falling from a tree, right? Okay, so apple falling from a tree, that's your dependent variable.
No.
No. Now you're not even on Nathan's side anymore.
So, what's the hypothesis, please?
No, you were wrong about the dependent variable. Nathan, do you want to say what a dependent variable is for this guy?
You take it away. Be my guest.
No, I was leaving, remember?
Well,
your dependent variable is the natural phenomena you observed.
No,
welcome to
no.
5th grade general science.
So what we wanted to explain is the cost that we could vary throughout the experiment was our dependent variable.
That's your independent variable. We're talking about the observed phenomena. Like we explained, the reason we call you an idiot is because you don't understand what a hypothesis is. Not an ad hominem. Your last sentence demonstrated your stupidity.
Okay,
Yeah, you
so
can
I got
laugh.
dependent.
You can laugh. Yeah. We get annoyed when people pretend to be clever.
Get very easily annoyed. I can see that.
Easily annoyed by idiots. But like you.
Yeah. So if you want to get
let's just get to you're wasting time. Let's hear your hypothesis.
No.
No? That's your answer?
We've tried this 5 times, and each time we found like different points where we don't agree on things, and then
this isn't a case of agree and disagree. This is science. This is empirical. It's objective, not subjective. If you want to go to a subjective forum, go to a cake decorating or whose favorite color is the best forum. Okay?
I mean, the irony of just being able to announce that you're the arbiter of objectivity is just astounding. But
it's not. He doesn't listen.
What a clown you are, man.
So, are we going to get a hypothesis? This is Cavendish. It's taken
no, we've
us well
done this
over an
5
hour.
times, and like I said, each and every time we find different points we disagree. Just starting over from the
Here
beginning.
we go again with this disagree and agree. Go to your cake decorating forum.
We don't agree about what science is. We don't agree with that.
You don't agree? What is science? What is there agree and disagree about it? Science is the scientific method. It's the intellectual and practical activity encompassing the systematic study of the structure and behavior of the physical and natural world through observation and experiment. Period. End of story.
That entire argument hangs on your belief that the word "and" there implies that it has to be both.
Has to be the physical and natural as opposed to the non-physical and supernatural. Example, can you please identify a non-physical natural for us? The natural world. All of the animals, plants, and other things existing in nature and not made or caused by people. Right?
So
do you want me
here's
to
the problem.
Do you want me to get the crayons out? I'll get the crayons out if you promise not to munch on them.
Wait. You are confusing 2 different things. You are talking about supernatural things and then man-made things. You are confusing those 2 together. They are not the same thing. Is man-made the same thing as supernatural?
I think they would classify man-made things as physical but not natural.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand, Nathan. I just don't agree with the fact that the word "and" in the definition means that it has to be part of both.
It's not an agree or disagree. How many times I got to tell you this?
Well, can we look at the definition again and see where?
I got it right on the screen.
I don't see any. I don't see your screen anymore. That's the problem.
I'm sorry.
They
can't see it. The audience can.
Oh.
Right.
Oh, you've been through this before.
The audience
presentation and everything.
Okay, just for argument's sake, let's entertain your globe-tard argument, and we'll allow man-made objects as natural phenomena, and we'll see how it shakes out. We'll go to its logical ends, and we'll see how it shakes out. How about that? So, from Kennesaw State, a law describes what nature does. A theory explains how nature works. So, Mr. Magoo, are they talking about lawnmower theories and toaster oven laws? How about pendulum theories and pendulum laws? Or bowling ball theories or bowling ball laws? you'd fail 5th grade general science. Furthermore, the entire goal of the scientific method is to elucidate or reveal cause and effect relationships. Well, aren't man-made objects caused by man? Duh! Why do we then need to scientifically investigate it then? We already have the answer. See
So
how this doesn't flow?
If we make a magnet, what is it? Is it a man-made object or is it the natural world?
Yeah, so if you make a magnet, man makes magnetism. Man made this object move. Yay, we have the explanation because the man
You
made
understand what I just told you, pretender clown?
Not really. I don't really get your entire point.
Really? An incoherent 2nd grader can understand this. You don't know what science is. That's the whole problem. The scientific method distinguishes science from other forms of explanation because of its requirement for systematic experimentation. To have an experiment, you have to have a hypothesis. To have a hypothesis, you have to have an independent and dependent variable. The independent variable is your cause. The dependent variable is your effect. You got the effect from step 1. Observe a natural phenomena. Real easy. You have to know this to pass 5th grade general science here in the United States.
Look, the problem here is that you do not understand what the scientific method is. Science does not differentiate between man and nature. Man is a part of nature according to science, and man evolved.
According to science, where at?
According to science, man is a part of nature, and man evolved. Man is not separate from nature.
Citation for that.
Let's see the citation, please. According to science, where's science at?
Yes, that's scientism, and that's evolution. And you
evolution?
Know
what the evolution? What's that?
Evolution is because they say
what is evolution? What's the scientific theory of evolution, please?
You cannot then say that science says that man is not a part.
Science says that's a reification fallacy. Science isn't a person. To say something, you have to have sentience, intelligence, prescience. You have to have aerobic respiration, lungs, lips, and a tongue. Science doesn't say anything. Show us a picture of science.
Why are you changing the topic?
Science doesn't say anything, sir. It's a reification
science doesn't say what you say it says. You would use the same phrase, mate. You would also say science says this and science says that. Don't get
I don't say that. I don't employ fallacy, sir.
Can we have a citation, please, for when you said that science includes man-made stuff?
Well, John knows that. That's why he rejected
making the claim.
Now he has special mind powers. He knows what I know. What other things can you do? Can you turn pixie dust into giraffes for us? Have you considered carnival as a vocation?
I haven't considered either of those, so I'm not sure why you would bring those up.
Bring what up?
John.
What you just
man-made things being part of science. I'd like to see that.
Well, science says, do you know evolution theory?
Boom. I want to see the science character to see how it looks.
Evolution, so man is part of nature. And then we can study, for example,
sure it does. Science says, right? Let's hear science. Let's hear science say it. Go ahead. I'd like to see science saying something. Do you know what a reification fallacy is?
You use phrases like that all the time. Why are you so stuck up on that?
Yeah, hello. It's like that. Don't make it true, right?
John, show us science in the quantum experiment, please. Show us the scientific method so everyone can understand why the quantum theory is science.
Not a problem.
Like, things like geology isn't.
Not a problem.
So stupid, you don't understand anything. Quantum.
Oh, I don't understand.
You say not a problem. Yeah, let him answer.
Wait. Okay, let's go. Let's do it. He wanted to see it, so here it is. This is you, by the way. Here,
Riley, you wanted to see this,
So we want to
so
see
look at
the
my screen,
scientific
buddy.
method, huh? All right, not a problem. Wait one.
This is going to be the scientific method for the quantum eraser experiment.
Yeah, it looks like it screwed me on that one. Wait one. Thanks for being patient.
No problem.
There she is. Everything's going a bit slow. Also, the Hangout, I don't know whether it's my mic or my earphones or whether it's the Hangout itself. It's sounding pretty bad. I can barely hear anyone.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it sounds like they're in a cave or something.
Yeah, and I'm not seeing John even in the Hangout.
He's on Skype. The Hangout was full when he joined.
Sorry.
The only one who sounds like he's in a cave is Tony.
Oh, that might be
All right,
because of...
just let me pull it out of here. I got it. All right. Get rid of those.
Wow, the show's been going almost 2 hours. Doesn't time fly when you're having fun?
All right, let me pick this up so everyone can see it. Okay, step one, observe a natural phenomenon. Photons, elementary particles, atoms, molecules exhibit both wave-like, that's interference patterns, and particle behavior, no interference patterns. Step two, alternative hypothesis. If the which path information is known or can be known, then we will observe wave function collapse. The null hypothesis. If the which path information is known or can be known, then we will not observe wave function collapse. The independent variable is inside the experimental setup. Known paths, that's D3 and D4. Unknown paths, D1 and D2. The dependent variable was taken right from the paper. It was predicted that the joint detection counting rate, R1, joint detection rate between D0 and D1 and R2 will show interference patterns when detector D0 is scanned along its x-axis. This reflects the wave property, both path of photon 1. However, no interference will be observed in the joint detection rate R3 and R4 when detector D0 is scanned along x-axis. The end. Have a nice day.
Thank you very much. I think with that, I'll probably round out. So I'll say first and foremost, a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of the debating panel for making this debate possible. And of course, a massive thank you to all of the live audience for tuning in and hopefully sharing this debate. If you hated the show, then you know exactly what to do. You've probably done it already. But if you like the show, maybe consider sharing it with a friend or subscribing if you've not done so already. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!